oncology center in Nigeria, and this is the hub where we are training them. I was in the ministry some 2 weeks ago, and I met one of, I think the head of a cancer center, the federal teaching Katsina, and the way he was talking about youth and Medserve cancer center is good. To let us know that the federal government is putting a lot of money in cancer management, and I hope we are going to let the public know things that we can do here. I believe that in terms of even foreign exchange and in terms of the debate of the country, this cancer center here is comparable to any cancer center in the world. So once again, I welcome you all to this conference. Thank you very much.
Is another round of applause. I'm sure everybody feels welcome now. I certainly felt welcome as soon as I came into the gate. This is my first time of coming to the first time, and from the gate, the security man said, "Blessed," and I said, "Amen." And walking through, it reminded me of my days as an undergraduate, and I was so happy to see so many young Nigerians being trained, and indeed this institution, apart from the Cancer Center being a center of excellence, the entire institution is a center of excellence. Please a round of applause for this. Thank you, sir. So to get into the nitty-gritty and the technicalities, we'll call on Professor Fatima Abdul Karim. She's the co-principal investigator at LUTH. Professor, please.
Hello. Morning. My CMD, Deputy Provost of the College of Medicine, will be representing the Provost College of Medicine, University of Lagos, the CEO of ICMAC, CEO of Medserve, Dr. Dewale, my other investigators, Professor Shumi, Dr. Eden, and others that are seated here. First, good morning, and thank you for coming. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about a journey that started more than almost 5 years that we've been on this. And it is the result of collaboration between North and South, collaboration between two centers in Nigeria, the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in the US, Medserve. And I'll say AGO. AGO is an organization, a research, African research for oncology that was founded by two gentlemen, Dr. Kingham in the US and Professor Latishe in the OAU. And it's a body that carries out research, particularly breast cancer, colorectal cancer. and has over 30 centers in Nigeria. And LUTH is one of the foremost centers of AGO for all the research work that we've been doing. Colorectal cancer, of course, is one of the major cancers that we've been researching on. And what we are having today is the outcome of all those research. Because when you do research and your research does not impact on the patient, then you're not doing anything. So the result of all the research that have been carried out over the years is what brought us to a stage where we can now say that Nigerians too can benefit from the latest type of treatment of cancer that's giving cure. So I'm going to talk about the scientific breakthrough, clinical impact of the use of anti-PD-1 therapy in mismatch repair deficient colorectal cancer. Don't worry, I'm going to break it down. This clinical trial is also partly funded by the Thompson Family Foundation in the US. So the investigators, so there are two centers. I am the PI for LUTH, while Professor Latiche is the PI for OAUTH. And we have, because the treatment of cancer is a multidisciplinary task. So we have clinical oncologists on the team, we have the surgeons, we have the pharmacists, we have the pathologists who make the diagnosis and tell us whether the type of cancer that we're looking at is the one that we want to have. So we also have the radiologists who are going to assess the tumor and tell us, oh, we started from this, and how far with treatment, what are the changes that we're having. Then we also have cardiologists, we have nurses, and then of course our research assistants. So you have all the names as listed. So why this matter? And what is colorectal cancer? Colorectal cancer is that cancer that, just like that cancer can arise from any part of the body, from head to toe. So colorectal cancer is that cancer that arises from the colon. And where is the colon? Is the large intestine. The large intestine is a part of the digestion, where after digestion, the remnant of the food, which comes out as feces, is kept before it comes out through the anus. So it's the end of the digestive system. But we know that colorectal cancer is not just one disease, it is multiple diseases in one. The incidence is rising, especially in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of those countries where incidence of colorectal cancer, we are showing in several of our studies that incidence are being increasing, especially in younger patients. One of our studies have also shown that over 50% of Nigerian patients die within 1 year of diagnosis. And then there's limited access to advanced therapy. The only thing that is available for our patients is chemotherapy, and most of the time they do not respond. And so the need for urgent, innovative, evidence-based treatment options for our patients. And so this trial represents hope, science, and global collaboration. So this is showing you the colon that I talked about. And up here is one of our cases where you have the tumor between the cecum for the medics among us, between the cecum and the ascending colon. Sometimes this kind of patient, but this patient came in as intestinal obstruction, and they will present to the surgeon and they think that it is something simple. So What is the burden of this cancer? It is the fourth most common cancer globally, and it is the fifth leading cause of cancer death worldwide. In Nigeria, like I said, the incidence is increasing. In other words, we're having many more patients coming down with the cancer, and especially in younger age. Many of them come at late stage when there is virtually very little that you can do for them. And like I mentioned earlier on, compared to what happens in the US, over 50% of our patients, when they are diagnosed, they do not survive beyond 1 year, compared to about 17% of patients. So we need to change the narrative. And so this trial is about changing the narrative. So this is a unique opportunity in Nigeria. And I've talked about African Research Group for Oncology. Like I said earlier, I said that colorectal cancer is not one disease, it's multiple diseases. Because now we look at the nucleus, we find details of the genes to categorize cancer. And using all this, we now know that there are several types of colorectal cancer using the genetic classification. And it is one of those, a unique type of this, of 4 major types. We have this unique type that the incidence is higher. Studies have shown that the incidence is higher here in Nigeria compared to other parts of the world. And these are the so-called mismatch repair deficient type of colorectal cancer. This particular one, they do not respond very well to chemotherapy, to the other types of therapy that are given to cancer patients. But they do, studies have shown that they do respond to immunotherapy. And so Nigeria is more positioned because we have many more, a higher proportion, about a third of our cases. At least from AGO studies, we have shown that over 30% of our patients had this type of cancer. An earlier study that was done basically in LUTH also shows that in LUTH patients alone also shows about 21% of our patients are this type of cancer. And what does that mean? What it means is that, yes, our patients, a higher proportion of our patients can benefit from immunotherapy. And this is one of the study that we did in LUTH, and we compared it with the one that they even did sequencing. And how we did was immunohistochemistry to be able to categorize the 4 different types of colorectal cancer. This is what we're going to be doing, because we have to, first of all, before we say that this patient will benefit, we have to carry out the immunohistochemistry to determine whether this type, the type of cancer that the patient has, is the so-called MMR type. And it is those that are going to benefit from this trial. And why? Again, is because the type that we are going to be treating are that one that I circled, the CMS1. They are the one that I've been referring to as the mismatch repair type of colorectal cancer, or microsatellite instability type of colorectal cancer, because they benefit, they have good prognosis, and they benefit from the use of immunotherapy. So what is this immunotherapy that I've been talking about? Immunotherapy is a system where the body cells are able to fight the cancer cells. If you look at this diagram, the tumor cell is by the left, right? And normally, the tumor cells, they produce certain substances on their surfaces. They will not allow the body defense system to attack them. So putting something like a brake, Because the normal thing is when you have an infection, when you have any attack in the body is able to mount its own defense. But these tumor cells produce certain substances that will not allow the body's defense to function. So this trial is about now removing that break, okay, so that the body's defense can attack the tumor cells. I hope it is clear, right? Yes. Clear or not? Yes. So you can see that here, there is something here that is not allowed. This is the body's defense that ordinarily should have been able to attack these tumor cells. But because of this PD-L1 that the tumor cell produces is attaching itself to the cell of the body and will not allow it to destroy the tumor cell. So what this treatment is about is to remove that break. So we are now going to be using anti-PD-1, which will attach itself to this and break away from the tumor cell. And so the body's defense is now able to attack the tumor, and then the tumor can be destroyed. The other thing is that chemotherapy normally destroys both the tumor cells and other body cells. But immunotherapy, we just target, once the break has been removed, all the soldiers of the body will now be free. They will have gained their freedom and be able to attack tumor cells. And so this study uses this PD-1 blocking, a type of, and that's why it's called immune checkpoint inhibitor. So the checkpoint that has been there will now be released, and the body is able to fight the tumor cells. Major international studies have shown significant improvement in survival with the use of this type of treatment that we are going to be using in this trial. Some studies show complete tumor response in well-selected patients. For example, the Keynote 177 trial showed double progression-free survival compared to chemotherapy. While the groundbreaking study at MLCC showed remarkable, in fact, when they started, they wanted to give treatment for like 6 months. But as they started, the tumor disappeared even before the end of the second month in those patients. So we pray that our own patients too will have this kind of remarkable difference as Nigeria joins this scientific frontier. So the drug that we're using is called cetuximab, and it is a PD-1 antibody. Like I said, it will break away, it will remove the break and enable the body's defense to fight the tumor. So for this study, the drug is going to be provided free of charge. Additional study-related logistics will be covered. Patients have been insured. All patients that are going to be on this study are going to already have life insurance that will cover them. And then equity and access are going to be central to all of this. So the study is titled PD-1 blockade in mismatch repair deficient colorectal cancer. You can say PD-1 blockade in MMR CRC, MMR colorectal cancer. It's a phase 1 single-arm pilot study, and we're going to be enrolling into 2 groups. Group 1, treatment naive, meaning that patients will not have received any treatment. So recruitment will not just necessarily be at the LUTH Cancer Center. It can be from anywhere. Anybody who has had biopsy done and has had diagnosis of colorectal cancer, we can recruit. We can begin to recruit such a person to first of all screen whether or not the person has this type of MMR cancer. And then the other two are the stage 2 or 3 rectal cancer. Total enrollment will be 40 because it's going to just be an initial trial to generate local evidence and build the foundation for larger studies. And so this is a global collaboration between Nigeria and our international partner is the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, who is going to be sponsor and will be the data coordinating center. And we also are going to have, just as we have DSMP board are going to be monitoring what we are doing in MSK, so also do we have a board, DSMP board, that will be monitoring what we are doing here as well. So we have fully approved by National Health Research Ethics Committee, also approved by the LUTH Ethics Committee, as well as OAU Ethics Committee, as well as NAFDAC. And we're going to be following international ethical standards, strict safety monitoring with, I've mentioned independent oversight and the life insurance earlier on. So what we try to achieve? The primary goal is to measure tumor response to the PD-1 treatment in our patients. And the secondary goal would be to also measure survival outcomes, what proportion of our patients are responding. Safety profiles, are the patient showing some kind of safety issues that are different from what the world has reported? Then feasibility of advanced imaging and biomarker testing, and of course, most importantly, is the building of local research capacity. So why is this historic? It's historic because this is the first PD-1 immunotherapy clinical trial for colorectal cancer in Nigeria. Among the first in sub-Saharan Africa, and it is a model of North-South research partnership, a step towards precision oncology, where you target, you not say because my brother has colon cancer, come and they are giving me this type of treatment, yeah, come and take. Like somebody will say, you have malaria, what did they give you? So that I can take the same. Cancer now is precision, targeted at the individual. So Nigeria is not just participating, it's also leading. So the trial will build clinical infrastructure, strengthen molecular pathology capacity, train Nigerian clinicians and researchers, position Nigeria for global oncology trials, and potentially redefine colorectal cancer treatment in West Africa. And this is like the summary, if you have not heard anything from all the two that I've been talking about. So this shows that our patients, they have low survival outcomes. Over 50% of them who die within, then they don't respond to normal, the usual chemotherapy. And we know that there are different types of colon cancer. The particular type that we call MMR, they do respond very well to immunotherapy. And we have a third of our patients with colorectal cancer have this type of, they are this type of MMR. And so what do we plan to do? We use immunotherapy solution using PD-1 blockade. And we are now enrolling LUTH, OAU, the global collaboration, the partnership between Nigeria and US-based center. So screening for eligibility is ongoing. Treatment and study drugs are provided again at no cost. Participation is voluntary, and patients are free to withdraw at any time during the trial. For further information, you have the names. Everything that I presented, you can have it in the flyer that we have provided for you. And so This launch marks a new chapter in cancer care in Nigeria. Through collaboration, science, and commitment, we are bringing cutting-edge immunotherapy to Nigerian patients. And I thank you very much, my chairman, the Medserve and all the investigators for this journey. The journey that culminated in this started, like I mentioned, more than 5 years ago. But we thank God that we are here. Thank you, God.
I think we can do much better. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, God. Prof. said we can all go home. Does anybody have any questions? I think he has answered and addressed all our questions already.
So the Prof mentioned something about trench, so that's the reason why I'm actually want to say something now. This is a press conference, not a scientific conference. Subsequent speaker, please limit yourself to what the press are going to take home. Thank you very much. And limit yourself to your slides because we have a time constraint. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This is well noted. Okay. Yeah. Are you ready for us, sir? Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chief Medical Director, Professor Adeyemo, the CMAC, Professor Obrowade, the representative of the Provost of the College, Professor Odebi, the CEO, Medserve Cancer Center, Dr. Tolu Adewale, and the Center Director, Dr. Eko, Professor Karim, and other investigators. My name is Dr. Ibe Adekunle. I'm OPI. I've also been corrected. I've made that correction. I'm a co-PI for this project. OPI for this project, and we'll be looking at patient outcomes, safety profile, and real-world implications. As Prof said, it's a pilot open label single arm study, and what we want to do as a study is to gather preliminary data on the use of PD blockade therapy and patients with metastatic colorectal cancer at the cohort 1, and patients with localized disease, which are the stage 2 and stage 3 of rectal cancer. We're looking at, in terms of patient selection, we're looking at those who are treatment naive. They are above 18 years old. Is good, 0 or 1, and they have a negative pregnancy test, which is done 72 hours prior to the start of treatment in women with childbearing potential. So the administration of the medication is given at 200 milligrams, given intravenously every 3 weeks. The first cohort will be on treatment for about, and the follow-up will also be after 2 years. So the first cohort will be on that treatment for about 4 years. The cohort 2 will be in 7 weeks, and we'll also have a follow-up period akin to cohort 1. And how do we monitor? We'll be monitoring through the RECIST criteria, which monitors treatment response as a given with help of imaging. I'm going to be running scans for both cohorts. We'll be running MRI and colonoscopy for the localized rectal group. Then we're running serial blood works. We have a structured adverse events reporting platform that we're going to be using, and there's going to be a very agile and on-hand MDT to review all the cases. And it's important to know that this MDT is going to be between two centers, which is the LUTH and the OAU center, with the MLCC center joining. It's important for us to know that these drugs will have side effects, but it's also interesting to note that the treatment-emergent side effects leading to adverse reactions are very, very low. And those who may have this adverse reaction are basically due to inflammation. So we have itching, diarrhea, rashes, and very common ones. And the more common ones that we will have are those who could affect, cause inflammation of the liver, inflammation of the colon, and some degree of pneumonitis. And we have a management strategy that we have put in place to make sure that these reactions are curtailed at the start of each of the adverse reactions. Early recognition of these signs, then steroid-based intervention protocols, and then if we need to interrupt or to or pause the treatment, we'll have to do that. And then we're prioritizing safety through proactive toxicity management. What is the impact on the quality of life? Prof has already mentioned that the immunotherapy, there's going to be reduced chemotherapy burden. And we know that a lot of the side effect management we have for our chemo patients is really due to adverse effects of chemotherapy. So with the use of this immunotherapy, there's that reduced chemotherapy burden. Then there's the organ preservation for localized cancer cohorts. Some of our patients who do not like to have a colostomy. So we have the kind of patients who are who test positive to these medications and gracefully use them. Then we have a situation whereby that patient may not have to go through having a colostomy. Very important in part of anticipation affects the life of our cancer patients is emotional and the psychological impact of treatment. It's going to be reduced with the use of this medication and as we begin the clinical trial. Probability of response in a resource-limited setting. We're going to be experiencing a long-term disease control, which is going to impact on reduction in chemotherapy costs. We're going to have reduction in hospital admissions, reduction in cumulative toxicity, and improved workforce productivity. Prof had mentioned this, so I'll just escape from that slide. I'm looking at practical integration into clinical practice. Now, what this trial is going to afford us is to have a reliable and mismatched prepared efficient testing infrastructure. Fusion center capability, laboratory monitoring access, and training physicians in adverse events management. And there's going to be, as I mentioned before, a multidisciplinary board meeting that will be had for each patient as a start treatment. So we're looking at having a sustainable therapy integration of this into oncology practice in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. The next speaker we have, I've worked with closely, and like I said, I have a small bias for Medserve, and I've seen firsthand the effort and the energy and the passion and commitment they have for improving